The guru has joined us.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Mountaintop Chats with your guru. That's me, Rod Barker. I'm so excited to be launching in. This is our inaugural day for Mountaintop Chats, and I'm just crazy excited about it. It's a very different kind of show than we do on our daily. We have the Real Estate Daily. It goes on live every day at 7:30 a.m. And thank you so much for all those of you that join us for that. This is a different kind of show. This show is about conversations about real estate. It's all about the business of real estate, but it's also largely about the people. It's the people of real estate. You know, real estate is a people business. And I am so excited to be lining up interviews with people that are doing the actual business of real estate. Not the industries out there. I'm talking about the people. It's the individuals out there, their personalities, their skill sets, their knowledge. Some of these people have been doing it for 30 plus years. A long time in the industry. And then some that we'll be interviewing have been doing it for a year or less. So I'm very excited about the show and what we're doing with it, because we're actually going to bring in front of you the career. You're going to see the career in a granular format, probably very unlike what you've ever seen before with other shows. This show is going to show you the actual career, for the good it is, for the bad that it is. Real estate is a hard business, but I'll tell you, there are a bunch of people that love it. They would do nothing else. And over time, we will explore why they love it, why it's their passion, how it came to be. By the way, when it comes to real estate, it's often a second career, or second, third, or fourth career for people. It comes often later in life, not every time, but often does come later in life for people, which makes the depth of the conversations absolutely amazing, because people get to bring forward all the things they knew in the past, their careers in the past, the goods, the bads, you know, all the uglies from the past, as well as the beauty, and share with us how they're making real estate happen for them today. And we call it chats because we want to keep it real. When you sit down with a friend, you chat. And that's our goal here, is to actually chat with people. And we are live, so you can be commenting live with us. And we will, throughout the show, check the stream and answer live questions, your live comments, back and forth. So excited about it. So what are we doing here? We're talking about current news of real estate, of course. There's always going to be the current news going on. There's going to be the current events. And that current news piece will be local, a nice local flavor of it. It'll also be a national flavor of what is the news going on. Because interest rates, that's more of a national topic often. Lending issues, often a national type topic. But there's also the local events and what's happening locally in real estate. And there's always a bunch going on. And it's so exciting to see the different things that are happening with some of the agents. For example, there's an agent that puts on a rummage sale with a neighborhood association, and she hosts it. And every year she hosts this. It's an event. And it's put on through the lens of real estate for that neighborhood. There's also cleanup actions going on where there's whole parties out there for helping neighborhoods clean up, or associations clean up, done through real estate. And we need to help get that word out, because there is so much good going on that it's quite intensive. To even think about covering it in a set of shows would be impossible. So interviews of these people, events, current events, which really is the heart and soul is knowing the people of real estate and breaking that barrier for them. So national and local news. National and local news is something, of course, we're going to be taking a look at and following the best that we can. There's so much, even taking a look at the things for the show today, there's so much national news going on out there. Whether it's the news of the crazy or the hardcore news of interest rates are going up and what's going on with inventories, and we're going to talk about that later today, is what's going on with inventories. Inventory is just this insane. Day over, let me just give you a sneak peek here. Day over day. So we're looking at today a year ago. There is less inventory day over day today than there was a year ago. A year ago, guaranteed, as professionals in the industry, we all thought we had hit rock bottom. We thought it could never get lower than that. We thought we had no inventory. But now we're at a point of having even less inventory. Let me just back up a little bit. I do want to start off on this inaugural show talking a little bit about myself. I don't want to go too far. And those of you watching my Real Estate Daily show at 7:30 a.m., and you can see the repeats of it, of course. You can find us on the, I think we can bring in the banner down here below, Karen. The banner says your-realestateguru.com. And you can find us at that YouTube channel. I think it's yt.your-realestateguru.com. So a little bit about myself. I have the glasses on because I am mostly blind. I do have a little bit of eyesight left. People ask it all the time. Do you have any eyesight? Yeah, I have a little bit. It's not much. It's like 21,000. It's the left eye has none. The right eye on the right hemisphere has none, but the left hemisphere of the right eye is where I have eyesight. And the little bit I have, it does help me get around. Mostly I see shadows and movement, but bright lights bother that piece of retina, and I get sparkles regularly from it. And so the glasses certainly help with those sparkles. And my wife calls it the Tom Cruise look. So I get to have my time. For those of you who remember back to Risky Business. Wow, I'm aging myself now. Remembering back to Risky Business and Tom Cruise sliding through the room in his sock feet, and the whole show of Risky. Great show. Love that. And if I can ever be called anything like that, well, wow. Love it. So conversations about real estate, I get to do this, and it's something I love to have conversations with people. And people, by the way, people ask me, well, how, Blind, how do you do the business? And by the way, I was Realtor of the Year. So I own a brokerage called Mount Hood Realty, and we have a team, and I am so proud of every single person on the team. I know Karen can speak with me on this, that we are just so proud of every single person on the team. They are hardworking people, and I hope that you get to meet them at some point. So getting to be a brokerage owner and sell real estate, I absolutely can do this, but it does take help. I mean, obviously I can't drive. I think that goes without mentioning. I can't drive. So Karen does drive me around, and we'll show things together. And it's important to us to be involved because we love real estate so much. Of course, we are a homeowner. We own some other real estate as well. And the pride of ownership goes so incredibly deep. I'd like to hear from you about the pride of ownership. This is something, as being in the career, we really get it. The people in real estate understand the pride of ownership. And through this show, I hope to exemplify that pride of ownership, getting to actually own something. For my own home, I will tell you, and you can probably find it out there on social media, we actually did a old-fashioned mortgage burning when we paid off the home, because I'm so proud to own something, to call it my own, not to have a mortgage on it. I was proud before then as well, but being a realtor, I am proud to get people into a home. I'm also proud to own a piece of property myself. It is a game changer. Now, we'll get more into that later. Let me get over into this, and it's guests. Today, we're going to talk to our first guest, and it was planned this way on purpose. And we're gonna try to have guests every week. Sometimes there'll be more than one guest in a week. But the guest today, of course, is very special. The guest is Karen Croston, and we will be joining Karen Croston as the guest for the show right after this break.
So, Rod, how can a cup of coffee improve my career in real estate?
Well, one cup of coffee is how we start our mornings, and it's not a stranger in real estate. We have coffee with our clients all the time. Even bigger than that, we can sit down with one cup of coffee, talk about your goals, make your business bigger, and push you to heights that you can't even believe.
That's right. And I'll tell you, working for Rod and I, you can be pushed because he's a workhorse.
I love real estate, and I want to share my passion with building your career in real estate as soon as we can pour the next cup of coffee.
So how about a cup of coffee with us?
I look forward to having a cup of coffee with you and having a discussion of a career change as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Chats with the Guru, Mountaintop Chats with the Guru. Sitting with me now is Karen Croston. Karen, you are a principal broker with Mount Hood Realty, and I am so excited to learn about you and Mount Hood Realty. And tell me, though, out of the gate here, what got you interested in real estate?
Oh boy, that's a big question, Rod. And I suppose you probably ask everybody you run into, but real estate seemed to be one of those things that look like a lot of fun. I enjoyed going to new construction sites and kind of breaking into them. Most of them weren't well secured anyway, and seeing how the home was being built and what kind of appliances they were putting.
That might be admitting a crime there, Karen.
Well, let's not tell anybody.
No, that's right.
But anyway, it was fun looking at homes. And I think a lot of you can relate to that. It's just looking at homes. How do people decorate the homes? How are the homes built? What kind of appliances are what are the trends?
So would you look at homes during the different seasons?
Oh, well, I am kind of a fair weather looker. But yes, depending, because, especially on the new construction, it would go through phases. And sometimes it would take them all year to get the home done. Of course, weather-related issues would come up. And it was just interesting to see, the different steps and whatnot. So I decided to get my license and, give myself an excuse to break in.
So you decided to you're excited about real estate. You decided to get your license once upon a time, but you weren't a brokerage owner right away. You went to work for somebody.
Oh, yeah. Well, here in the state of Oregon, it is required to work for another broker after you get your license for 3 years. And after that, you need to get a principal broker license in order to work for yourself. And even once somebody gets their principal broker's license, oftentimes they just stay with the office that they're working at and either just sell homes for themselves under the plaque of the office, or they are a leader of a team and they're in charge of training and supervising other agents. So I worked for quite a while under a different office, and I tried several different offices out over the years.
And you enjoyed them.
You know, it is an experience, and I recommend every agent that's thinking about opening their own office, hanging their own shingle, to explore different offices, because each office has its own personality. They do trainings in a different way. The personality, the way the agents and the principal broker interact are different, and the amenities and whatnot can be quite a bit different. Some offices, just really count on you to fly on your own, whereas other offices provide a lot of structure. They have a lot of expectations. They expect their new brokers to come in, do a lot of the work that maybe some of the other agents don't want to do, such as the phone calling, doing floor time, keeping the office open, just being available. And
the floor time has changed a lot these days.
Floor time has changed a lot, because at one time, floor time was an opportunity for a brand new broker that didn't have a sphere of influence to collect clients, because clients would walk into the office and meet a broker. They were interested in seeing 123 Main Street.
People would fight for that time.
And agents would actually fight for it, even some of the older agents, but usually newer agents. I mean, if you were very ambitious and had the time, you took up as much floor time as possible so that you were there when a client walked in. If you weren't there, somebody else was going to take that lead.
It's kind of funny, people would fight for that time back then, and now it's hard to get people to come to meetings face to face. It's so different.
Well, it's changed quite a bit, because our clients no longer come to the office. They're not looking for their agents at the office. I mean, it still happens. You'll have a walk-in, but I must say, we're at the office quite a bit. And in a year's time, we might have 3 walk-ins. Instead of 3 in a day or more, we have 3 in a year. So the idea of floor time being beneficial, a beneficial use of your time, not such a good idea.
Not like it used to be.
Of course, if as a new agent, and we have some that find that it is so much better to come to the office where there's more structure. They have copiers. They're able to use a desk and
able to ask questions
and whatnot. And of course, they can ask us questions as principal brokers. Rod's also a principal broker in our office, and they can ask direct questions and whatnot, and it helps them focus instead of working from home where they may have distractions of siblings, friends, housemates, their own children. So it totally depends on the individual's lifestyle.
Now, before we get into, though, why you chose to become an owner, I'm anxious to hear that part of the journey. But we were talking earlier before you came on stage about people having other careers. You also had other long-term careers.
Yeah, becoming a real estate agent isn't as easy as they like to say it is. I mean, I've heard a number of times it's the cheapest career to get into, because when they talk about the cheapest career, all they're talking about is how much does it cost for you to pay for your pre-licensing course and passing the test. Well, first of all, that's only part of the training. But second of all, you have to find your own leads. And you can find those in multiple ways. For those that have a huge network of family and friends, they have a sphere of influence in which they can draw upon, and they might get a few sales. It's a little easier.
But they don't get the walk-in. But they don't get the walk-ins anymore.
They don't get the walk-ins now. So the other option is to purchase leads. And there's tons of sites to purchase them from, starting with Redfin and Zillow and Trulia. These leads are very expensive. I know a lot of people think that online stuff, it's free. Just go online, it's free. But for agents and lenders and plumbers and whatnot that are advertising out there or looking for leads, it's a very expensive way to get your clients. So the process for me, starting off, sure, I could spend some time doing floor time at the office. And that was going to take a lot of time, even though at that time there were a lot more walk-ins. There was also other new agents, and they were competing for that same time. Sometimes there would be 2 or 3 of us at the office at the same time. It kind of like the car dealership where like you feel like you're being hunted down by a bunch of hawks or something.
The pariah.
So at that time, I thought, yes, I can do this. I'm going to spend some time at the office. And at that time, I had a huge change in my life in that I found out I was pregnant, and that was great. That was wonderful news. I thought, this is a flexible job. I can make this happen. And it turned out to be the case of, oh my gosh, I need to find some insurance, because as a real estate agent, you pay for all your own stuff. And again, it takes a long time to get started, to get enough clients.
That's why they call it a great second career for the family.
And oftentimes it is a great second career for the family. And then not only that, but I found out that I was having a set of twins, and I was sick all the time. And then after the babies were born, it was just
you had twins that you're busy.
Time that they were taking up, and I realized, wow, real estate, the career itself happens oftentimes in the evenings, on the weekends, spontaneously. And that didn't seem to work for me, and the naps that randomly happened and so forth. And the fact I needed insurance, I went and got a 9-to-5 job where I could figure out how I was going to get my insurance and how I could keep the babies on a set schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Did I give up my license? No. I still wanted to creep on the homes. I still wanted an excuse to go into the homes. And it was a wonderful
so you kept the license going. You hung it kind of behind the scenes.
Yes.
While you slowly kept looking at that as a career opportunity.
Well, and your sphere is always more forgiving on your time.
Yeah.
So if you have a brand new client that wants you to show homes, they want to see 123 Main Street like now, or maybe in the next half an hour. Of course, if you're already doing something else, you're at the grocery store, if the baby's just gone down for a nap and whatnot, that doesn't work very well for you. And in this day and age where our clients want service now, and they're used to immediate satisfaction, and they were able to find you online, they're able to find another agent just as easily. So if you tell them that you're not available right now, maybe tomorrow or a couple hours later, they'll say, no problem, I can find somebody else. So, it's a career that you have to be flexible on and ready to roll with those kind of punches.
So before we get into you as choosing ownership, because this was a whole process, I want to reveal something here that many of you already know, of course, and probably have figured out through some of our language. We are married. We own Mount Hood Realty together. I wanted Karen to be the first guest of the show. She did not want to be the first guest, I'll admit that, but twisted her arm a little bit, and I'm the luckiest person on the planet to have a spouse and that we get to work together. Different parts of the business that we do entirely. I do one piece, she does another piece, and it all comes together. But it was a long conversation when Karen started talking to me about wanting to open up her own brokerage. And Karen was the first one to bring this concept to me, and I got excited about it. But Karen, what was the process of that thinking process that you wanted to open your own brokerage? That's a big deal.
It certainly is. And it was more of a project than I actually anticipated. But, I had initially said that I had worked at several offices, and I think it's a great idea because you do get a lot of different ideas from different offices, from the different people you meet and so forth. But one of the things that I found is one of the offices that I worked at, I had been with them for several years, 3 or 4 years, and I had been attending their monthly meetings pretty regularly. And I had shown up to another larger function. I believe it was a Zillow function in which there was a whole table of other brokers from my office at this function. And I walked up to the table and they didn't know who I was. They, acted like I was, from some other office or a brand new broker. And I was not impressed. I thought, wow, the owner couldn't remember, sitting and chatting with me.
Wow.
I know. And several of the other
It's
brokers
shocking.
that had been in the office and at several of these meetings off and on. So
Because
it's
you
like,
went to all the meetings. You were active.
yeah, I was pretty active.
You weren't a large performer selling a lot of homes,
Right.
but you were there.
Exactly. I had, sales pretty off and on pretty regularly. So I wasn't considered the performer. And that's what was important at that office. And I thought, wow, what I really wanted was an office where brokers could have an opportunity to grow and be more of a family, that it wasn't so cutthroat. I didn't like the idea when I was at the offices doing floor time, and basically what mattered was who could get to the front door first. Even if it meant tripping the other agent type thing. Or if you were expecting your client to show up at the office and you had scheduled an 11 o'clock appointment and they showed up at quarter till, when you showed up at the office, they were already talking to a different agent, because that's the way the office function that was allowed. If another agent was there, they were willing and able to scoop it up. And all of a sudden, somebody that you'd already made arrangements with and that you had lined up maybe showings, they were talking to another agent.
But
I wanted a cooperative office.
Doesn't this showcase, though, how important it is to find an office culture that you fit best in? Because some people would thrive in a competitive office culture, and others want a team culture.
Absolutely. And I would say over the years, because I had my license probably for the last, I want to say 27 years now. And so throughout the years before Rod and I decided to open our office, my life stages also changed. So the type of office I was looking for at the time changed. For example, early on, a lot of times we're looking for a lot more guidance and hand-holding, an office that maybe is more available. And then once you become much more experienced broker, you're looking for an office that will just let you fly,
leave you
do
alone.
your own thing, not have a ton of rules and so forth. And so I went through different stages. And so I changed offices kind of based on what the expectations of the office were and what my needs were at the time.
So real estate remains a passion with you, and you love being an owner.
Yep.
But you have other passions in life. I mean, real estate is a huge passion. I know that. I personally know that it's a huge passion. And we own different pieces of real estate together, including timeshares. And the timeshares are at a very special place. And they're at Disneyland. And Karen, how much of a Disney fan are you?
Oh man, I love Disney. The first time I went to Disney, I was an adult. I had felt denied. I'm an Army brat. We had traveled all over the place, and it seemed like Disney was never where the base was,
Yeah.
And so
they never put it next to it.
No. And so I was driving through California one year with my U-Haul van, and I said, "That's it. I'm stopping." And I found a hotel that had space for me, and I stayed a night or two, and I went to see Disney. And ever since then, it's just been wonderful. I love Disney. And so our business cards say, "Making dreams come true, one home at a time." Yes, it's directly connected to Disney, but that's what I believe. I mean, home ownership is one of people's dreams of a lifetime. And so I just kind of tied them together. I love Disney. I love animals, and I love home ownership. And let me tell you, if you want to go to an awesome zoo, go to the Animal Kingdom in Florida, run by Disney on the Disney campus. It's awesome.
Absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, other than Disney, though, I mean, just to round this out, you have other passions in life.
Oh, which direction are you going?
Well, like hiking and just all kinds of things. When I met you, you were into kayaking.
Well, I do have a kayak. I have a canoe. I do like to do these things. It seems like it's getting harder and harder because our schedules are so crazy busy. Yeah. I mean, this is like our third session today. And we have another appointment in another city several hours away later this afternoon.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We have,
and it's about real estate.
This crazy schedule, but you know, I learned to ski in order for my kids to experience the wonders of the Pacific Northwest. So we live like within an hour of the mountain, and I wanted them to experience that opportunity, but I had very limited skiing skills. Now I've kind of hung up my skis a little bit because I don't like to go fast.
I think you hung them up for my benefit because I can't do it.
Well, I can't do it.
I know there's blind people that do ski, but I'm uncomfortable with it. So
well, tell them the truth about your skiing.
I like to go fast.
Rod likes to go fast. He actually, because Rod hasn't always had a sight problem.
Right.
Rod was able to ski. He likes to go fast, straight down the hill.
Boom.
And let me tell you, blindness and speed
they don't go together well.
Don't go together.
Yeah, they don't but you introduced me to something I never thought I would like because it's so slow, and that's snowshoeing.
Are you calling me slow?
No, it's not that at all. But you can hike out with snowshoes, and I thought I would never love this. Karen introduced this sport to me, and I thought, snowshoeing, how can that be a thing? Mm-hmm. And first time I went out and did it with her, she had put in our backpacks, which I didn't know they were loaded with stuff like this. They put in our backpacks, you know, some drinks and some sandwiches and things. We hiked out and she said, okay, we're going to have lunch. I said, where's that coming from? Let me unpack your backpack, Rod, which I thought I had other stuff back there, but we sat out there, we had lunch.
That's
and
right.
It was wonderful. There is so much more to know about Karen, and it is awesome that we got to do this on our inaugural day. Karen, how can they contact you?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I want any calls. Well, my phone number is 503-880-0567. I love the phone number because it's simple. And our email address is info@m as in mountain, MTHOODREALTY.com.
Now I gotta tell everybody this before you step away. This is the one, maybe a few more times in the future you'll see Karen. Karen is always here. She's behind the camera making all this work. So before taking this seat, she had to make sure the computer and the controls were all set up. And I know that can be very stressful. But Karen is here. She's the one making all of this actually happen. And the slides come and go in and out for us. And the commercials and the advertisements. She's the one making it happen. I know it's been hard, Karen. Thank you.
I like to call it the brains of the organization.
I would agree with that. and I'll just say this openly. I love you.
Oh, brother. All right, guys.
Can't take that back now.
The show's not over. I am going to step around to the back side and make snarky comments from the back.
From the back, as usual. Take your chair.
Oh, yes.
We normally, for the show, we'll be bringing people into the green room, and then they will come up in a split screen. So quite different than what it is today, where she's actually seated beside me. But that is a very different approach than what our future guests will have, where we'll actually have a split screen. You'll be able to see us probably a little bit better. But working with Karen, I wanted her to be the first one because she does sit behind the scene. And if you're joining us for our 7:30 show on your-realestateguru.com, the YouTube channel, and we have hundreds of videos over there. The person making that happen behind the scenes is Karen. I get to be the talking piece. I love it. I didn't mention this. I am an attorney. I'm a real estate attorney, although I was a prosecutor years ago, had that going on. And I love real estate. And that's why I do it with Karen. We found our love together in real estate. And I do one piece of it, and she does a different piece of it. Like people talk about not wanting to make phone calls. And I actually you'd love to have me in your office. I would sit there and make phone calls for you. I don't mind making the cold calls. And Karen is behind the camera now, if you can hear her snickering at me, because she knows this to be true. I'll sit there and I'll make 100 phone calls, raising business for the team. I don't mind doing it. So, okay. Topic changing on us. Thank you so much, Karen. That was awesome. Topic changing on us here real quick before we go into our last break. And then I want to talk briefly about the news of square footage of homes. It's kind of this insane thing going on. The newest news going in to this year. Now, we know that square footage for homes has been growing for quite some time. That is not new. But where we're up to now is, well, to me, and I'd like to hear from you in the comments, it's astonishing. And Karen, if you can, check the comments for us when you get an opportunity, see if someone's chiming in with us. The square footage for homes has gotten up to nearly 2,600 square foot for the average first-time buyer new home. That is astonishing. I remember living in an apartment, and some of you, I'm sure, can tell me similar stories. I lived in an apartment as a young man that was 280 square feet. And I thought I had all my needs met. 280 square feet. I went to a different place that had about 100 more square feet. It was an old maid quarters in a home that I was able to rent. So it had less than 400 square feet, about, 360, something like that square feet. And I thought, wow, I've really stepped it up now. And now this was a rental, but now we have square footage for first-time buyers, new construction first-time buyers. That's averaging now nearly, it's like 2,580 or something, nearly 2,600 square feet. And I'm just wondering how does
that work out with the new push for tiny homes?
So Karen brings up the push for tiny homes. She pushed me on this about 10 years ago. We had looked at a piece of land, and I said, well, what would I do with that land? It's an interesting piece. We could buy it. But then she said, well, why don't we buy it? And let's put tiny homes all over it. And I will admit now to how wrong and how I don't see it into the future well in for this tiny home thing. I didn't have, even as your guru, I didn't have the future sight for it. Because I mocked her mercilessly and said, that will never be a thing. And then we started looking around like 3 years later, and someone grabbed that piece of land, and they did exactly what Karen had predicted. They went and put a bunch of tiny homes on it. And I thought, oh boy, did I ever miss this? I hope she doesn't rub this in. Well,
I still remember.
And she still remembers. And this is what we call TGR. That's the total grievance recall. And yes, I get it rubbed into me regularly. And we found an advertisement a few years ago for small homes. And if I can't quote it exactly, but it went something like this. Live in the home of your dreams, a home with 190 square feet that lives like it has 235. And I laughed and showed Karen this effort. So it's a home with 190. It's a tiny home. 100. Well, I don't have to tell you that part. 190 square feet that lives like it has 235. 235. How is that a bragging thing? How is it bragging that you have 190, but it lives like as if it has, because of the way it's put together, as if it's bigger? That's 45 more square feet. I put my shoes in a closet that has more than 45 square feet. I'm not part of this small home culture, even though I really get it. So how does this, how does it come to pair together with this concept that, home square footage has grown? Well, there is a reason it has grown, and we are going to talk about those reasons right after this break.
So, Rod, what does it mean? 7 minutes to a new career.
Well, in 7 minutes, we can have a cup of coffee. We can talk career goals and how we're going to help you make the biggest career move in your life.
That's right. There's a lot of things that Mountain Hood Realty has to offer, and Rod is a ball of energy.
I love the career, and I want to share with you my passion for building your business bigger than you ever thought it could be.
Come spend 7 minutes with us. We look forward to it.
Talk to you soon.
The guru has joined us.
Okay, so we were talking about the size of homes growing and the reasons that we are looking at for them growing. Well, it's not just people wanting more space. Although I always say wanting more space is a good idea. I like a bunch of space. I want people to leave me alone. I need my solitude. Karen and I got together, by the way, back in 2008. We truly got together in 2006, but the marriage vows hit on 8/8/8. So very, very proud of that. We got together in 2006, and the children, of course, the twins were there, and I love them dearly. But I told Karen, I've never had children in my life. I've never lived with anybody since 18 years old. I need space. I need some privacy. So we had to find a home that would allow me to have, a little bit of time of privacy at times. And then I found Karen joining me now and then in the privacy. So people are adding space to their home, not just because they want more personal space, though. They're adding space to their home because ever since the coronavirus, people are moving their jobs to home, and more family, due to harder economic times, have moved in. And this is hitting real estate now. We are finding this aspect in real estate, and that's incredible. People are moving their jobs home, just like this, what you're seeing here. I know I at some point in time, Karen, we will have to show a picture of the whole studio. What you're seeing, of course, is the aspect of the studio that the camera sees. But the rest
so you want to pull back the curtain.
The rest of the room is very utility based. Just think about any studio. All the cameras and the cords are everywhere, and the lighting that makes it all happen. All this stuff is when I get up, Karen always says, be careful because I can't see all the cords. You just can't see it with the camera. But I think you know what I'm talking about, what makes it happen. Well, this is happening in our home. We have a business. We have a professional building, and that's in Troutdale. But we chose to do the studio at home, where we can be more sustainable with our studio. And we're empty nesters. So this used to be our daughter's room, which really makes it unique for us. Very, very special. Okay, so changing topics yet again on you. I want to change over to something I want to talk about probably for a while to come. And that's the zombie alert. How can you have a show and not have a zombie alert? I know before you think I'm going nuts on this and thinking, oh boy, he's went over the deep end. Zombies. Where are zombies coming from? Well, now we have zombie foreclosures. And it's actually a thing. It's not me coining this. In fact, you can read the whole article on Realtor.com and some other news articles. I don't know if the NAR has it or not, but some of the other large real estate companies out there have this news article going on. And so we have zombie foreclosures. I will tell you, when I first read it, I had called out to Karen and said, you won't believe that now we have zombies in foreclosures. So what does that actually mean? So the zombie foreclosures are homes that have been left vacant. They're not just a foreclosure or a family that's unfortunately going through a foreclosure process, which is hard enough. But these are homes that have been abandoned. People have simply said, that's it. I'm not waiting for foreclosure. I'm not waiting for the process. And I'm just simply moving on. I would like to hear from your comments. Are you living near one of these foreclosures? Or do you see them? People call us at the brokerage pretty regularly. And they'll ask about these and say, what? This house next to me, you need to go do something about it. And they'll find it on something like a Zillow, and maybe it's through an advertisement. They think that we're attached to it somehow. And they'll say, I'm demanding you to come over and cut the grass. I'm demanding you to fix it. I'm demanding you to clean it up or do whatever it is with it. Well, let me tell you, first, we're not attached to those, but the zombie foreclosures are up to about 1.4 million nationally, which is up 10% in 1 year. And they think this number is going to grow significantly in the year 22 because of the ongoing impact of the coronavirus. This is huge.
I mean, isn't COVID responsible for everything now?
Well, COVID's responsible for everything now. How can we not blame zombies now on COVID? Does that just make sense that we're blaming now the zombie housing epidemic on the coronavirus? It just, it is. But yes, we are calling them zombie foreclosures. We'll try to have a zombie update for you every so often to find out what's going on and what are they going to do with this. I don't want to go deep into this today, but the truth is there's a lot of lending institutions that hold on to their foreclosures because they are bankrolling their business through book value. I don't want to get into that. That's going far, far, far too deep. So the zombie stuff, I love the name of it, but it's going way too deep. Let me just take a sip of coffee here. So, new buyers, what's the prediction going on out there? I would like to hear from you in the comments. How are you helping your new home buyers? I'm talking about the first-time home buyers. How are you helping them? Because I'll tell you what the prediction is. The national prediction, and I think that in the Northwest where we're at, we're in the Portland market here, and we have an office in Oregon, we have an office in Washington, both sides. So we can deal with Oregon and Washington. So we're deeply involved with the Northwest. The prediction is that it will be harder than in any years past, than in many, I shouldn't say any, but in the many years in the past, to actually get a first-time home buyer to get their offer accepted. So you might want to ask, why is that? Why is that the deal? Well, it's because first-time home buyers often struggle with down payments. They're walking in with a zero down payment opportunity, which is supposed to be a good thing. And it is a good thing. Well, what happens when you have a shortage of inventory? The shortage of inventory is simply causing the people who have more money to be able to compete against that same market. We call them the bread and butter homes. The bread and butter homes are the basics. It has the 3 bedrooms, the 1.5 baths. That'd be a typical, in the Portland market, that'd be $400,000. We just recently had a home that was, I think it was listed for about $350. It may have been $365, right in that pocket. And if you look it up on the comps, it was priced well. It went for almost $100,000 over price. It went up there around the $450 mark. $100,000. So you take a bread and butter home that a first-time buyer could typically step into, and they're in trouble with it. They can't keep up. They can't compete in that kind of a market where you're getting 20, 30 offers on something. That is just not the kind of market they can compete in. So right now, though, we do have some good news. And the good news is we have the largest home owner increase in lots of years. In fact, not just lots of years. We had the largest homeowner increase for homes being owned, the ownership of homes. We have the largest annual increase on record. People have decided, and this is from the NAR analysts, the National Association of Realtors, the NAR analysts, give them credit where credit's due here for this information. People have decided that home ownership is important, and more people are purchasing homes. Well, this goes back to the first-time buyer problem, though. First-time buyers, there are more and more people wanting to buy homes. They may be a first-time buyer, they may not be. There are more people wanting to purchase homes than ever before. There is a bit of bad news. So I'm very proud that people want to be a homeowner. I'm really proud of that. And I'd like to hear from your comments about this opportunity yet problem. Black home ownership is down. And I would like to know more about that problem. Why are minority ownership homes, particularly African American, why are they down year over year? And that is a serious problem. I think the industry is going to have to look at. So 2/3 of the cities have double-digit increases. 2/3, let me get this right. 2/3 of the cities in metro areas in the United States in the last 12 months have experienced double-digit increases in value. That's incredible. Now, that doesn't mean the whole metro area has had double-digit increases. But somewhere in that metro area, and it becomes pockety, Certainly in the Portland metro area, that we have absolutely, and I will say unfortunately, because I don't want to be the taxes on it, out in my area, we've had double-digit increases yet again this year. This is incredible to see what's happening. I don't know how the first-time buyers can keep their income up enough to see this happening. Very, very difficult. When you start having double-digit increases, what do you think about this? I'd like to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about home prices soaring this fast? Are we headed for a bubble? Now, looking at the economists out there, the economists would say we're not headed for a bubble. Is that we are in a very different position now than we were in 07, 08. Okay, I can bite on that. Right along with you. I hope that's true. We know every 10 to 15 years, the market does a reset, whether that's a hard reset or there's just some reset to it. Is there going to be we're getting to kind of that distance. We're about 14 years from that last hard reset at the market had some tumbling to it. And what is that? Are we looking at another reset, or is the reset built into the market as we see it today? Now, the economists I'm listening to are all saying that we're not looking for a reset. We're just looking for a minor slowdown. Now, if the market slows a little, what is it based upon? Right now, I would say the market is slowing down on the simple fact that we don't have inventory. There isn't enough inventory out there. How are you guys dealing with the inventory problem? And when you have a buyer and you're trying to help them get something, Oregon has a new rule. And I want to talk about this briefly. Oregon has the new rule, a moratorium against love letters. Now, this is an Oregon thing. There are lots of other states, though. If you're in a state that has a moratorium against love letters, you know what I'm talking about here. But for those who don't know what I'm talking about yet, love letters are those things that buyers write to the seller saying how much they love the home. And they go something like this. My husband and I, we toured your property with our 3 children, and we fell in love with it. We realized that based upon our church being down the street, the local schools, my husband's job being down the street, and the extra bedroom being perfect for my disabled father as a veteran, it's going to be perfect for us as a family. Okay, so I'm barely a few sentences into this, and we have, 6, 7 protected classes all over the place, which is why the Oregon legislature said we have to stop this. And in fact, the NAR is talking about they don't want anybody using these anymore. How does that impact your business? Does it impact your business at all? If you are largely a buyer's rep, how does it impact your business? I'd like to hear from you on this, because this is a significant change in how we're doing business in Oregon and in lots of states as it rolls out. The change is quite significant. So love letters, they now are gone. They're in the past, and we simply can't use them anymore. To us, it's not really much of an impact. If in fact, I would say a zero impact, because we told people before they shouldn't be using this. This is a bad vehicle for them to be reliant upon, as there is risk in it. There is lots of risk in it. Now, I want to leave you guys with one more little factoid. I've got a bunch of things I want to share with you on weeks to come, but one little factoid I want to leave you with here, and that is the lonely factor, or I should say the least lonely factor. There is a bunch of stats out there when it comes to real estate, and it deals with what states do people not live alone, they live together, or what states are out there that people actually do live alone, and that would be the loneliest states. The least lonely states, the 3 least lonely states are Utah, Alaska, and Hawaii. I looked at this and I laughed with Karen and I said, the least lonely states are Utah, Alaska, and Hawaii? How is that possible? Alaska is the second least lonely state. Would you have thought that? Does that make sense to you? I thought there was a lot of single people. I thought it was more of a frontier type area in Alaska. clearly, my assumptions are wrong. I get that. Hawaii, I'm not so surprised about. Utah, maybe, kind of ambivalent on it. The Alaska thing really did surprise me on it. The very loneliest states. Now, one of them, not a state, I will tell you right up front, is DC. They include it. So DC tops the list with 44% of its population living alone. 44% of its population lives alone. And then we have North Dakota and Vermont. DC, North Dakota, and Vermont, top 3 on the very loneliest places to live, with DC at 44%. I believe Vermont was at 38% of its population living alone. I'd like to hear from somebody how that works. By the way, this has been the first Mountaintop Chats with your guru, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week when we interview our next top leader in real estate. See you then.